Welcome back to another episode of Kiwi and Pixel the Parakeets. Thank you very much for joining us today. This is another video in our series about frequently asked questions that we get on our channel. Today's video is about feeding the parakeets, how often we feed them, what we feed them, and what they like to eat. So first off, let's just talk about the type of food that we feed them. We feed Kiwi and Pixel a food called Harrison's Adult Lifetime Superfine, which is a pellet food as opposed to a seed food. And the pellet contains all the different kind of nutrients that they need into a tiny little pellet that's about the size of seeds. Many times when you buy pellets, they come as these kind of larger pellets that sometimes birds will eat and sometimes they won't. Small birds like parakeets do need smaller pellets in order to identify them as food. So we feed Kiwi and Pixel these very small pellets, which they seem to like just fine. They go in their regular food bowls, and we provide them more food than they would need in a day, and there's always a little bit of food left over, but we want to make sure that they never run out. The other question we get about feeding Kiwi and Pixel is how often we feed them. Well, we feed Kiwi and Pixel once a day. We replace their food and their water, and then they just sort of graze out of the food bowl all day. We don't feed them meals. We don't feed them a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. They get one meal a day, and they sort of eat as they would like to. It's not really like feeding a dog. Like my dog, I'll give her a breakfast and she'll eat the entire breakfast at once. Some dogs will graze, but many dogs, if not most dogs, will eat all of the food you put in front of them at once. And this really isn't true of parakeets, at least mine. You feed them a serving of food and they sort of just take what they want to, and that food lasts them all day and all night. The next question we get about food is kind of what kind of vegetables do we feed them? Kiwi and Pixel really like fruits and vegetables. We like to feed them apples. They really like slices of carrot. They will eat spinach. They'll eat celery leaves. They'll eat kale. They'll eat all sorts of green stuff. There's certain foods that you can't feed them, and there's lots of lists online about what not to feed parakeets. But in general, they really do like fresh fruits and green vegetables. One snack that's really popular to feed parakeets that you find in basically every pet store is something called millet spray. It's these bunches of seeds that come in a long stalk. It's really cheap, but it's also a really fatty snack. It's something that's meant to be given as a treat rather than a sustenance for the birds. One last thing about millet is that it is really good for clicker training birds. It's a food that's very desirable for them. It's a high value treat, and they are really drawn to it and attracted to it as a treat. So you can use it for training, you can use it for all sorts of other things, for hand taming your birds. It's something they really like to eat, and therefore you can use it as an incentive. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for stopping by and watching Kiwi and Pixel the Parakeets. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to click that subscribe button and maybe even click that little bell icon so you get notified of new videos. Thanks again for stopping by. Have a good day. Cheers.
I'm here.